Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, so I was mowing the yard and the mower just stopped. So let's go through some basic troubleshooting for your mower when you're mowing along and it just dies. Welcome to Man Time. Yeah, so this is probably a pretty uncommon mower for everybody, but the troubleshooting process is the same regardless of, what kind of mower you're working on. You need spark, you need gas, and you need compression, right? So what happened was I was mowing along and all of a sudden it just kind of went and just shut off and died. And then it wouldn't restart, right? So I pretty much drained the battery trying to get it started after it died. The grass is crazy. It's hot. It's coming up on summertime. And I need a mower, obviously, right? So first thing I'm going to do, while I still got a little bit of juice left in the battery, is unhook the fuel line, turn on the fuel pump. This one's got an electronic fuel pump, and see if we've got fuel pumping through the line there. I just rebuilt the carb, I think last summer. There's a video on that, and I kind of went through it, was having some trouble starting. I am going to change the starting solenoid while I'm in here, and I have to take that battery out to recharge it anyway. So I may end up having to take the back half of it off here and take that fuel tank off if there's a fuel line restriction. But let's get in here, see if we've got fuel up to the carb. Okay, so here's our fuel line, inline fuel filter right here. I don't remember where the best place to get this loose is at here, so we'll just kind of loosen a couple of these up and see where we end up here. Okay, so fuel is draining back out of this fuel line, so that's pretty much going to tell me it's getting fuel. So let's hit the key and see if this thing doesn't start spraying some fuel for us. Okay, so it's not a fueling issue. Alright, next, let's see if that fuel didn't look great, but it didn't look horrible either. I guess we can, what can we assume here? Anything? It did try to fire, so maybe we can just see if it'll fire here. And I can kind of move it over to where I get a little easier access to work on it. Alright, let's see if it'll fire. So I'm going to do full choke and see what happens here. Yeah, these are really the worst kind of problems to have, right? The intermittent ones. So let's choke it. Okay, so I know I'm getting fuel. Let's see if we can figure out if I'm getting spark. Okay, so while we have a little bit of juice left in the battery, let's see what kind of power is coming into this coil. So I've got ground here, and I've got this on the terminal, no change, and now we're on this side of the terminal, no change. Okay, let's kick the key on here, see what happens. Still no power. There. And still no power there. So the coil doesn't appear to be getting power from anything. And one of them's going to this thing here. But I feel like the coil should be getting power from something. And I'm not seeing anything. So let me trace down these wires. I may have found part of the problem right down here. Let me get this, see if I can get this connector. There's a butt connector right down here that looks like it should be supplying it power. But, oh, yeah, well, I may have found the issue here. This connector, let's test it. So this wire was coming out of one side of this butt connector, and it had pulled out of the butt connector. So let's turn it back on. Yeah, there's our 12 volts. Let me bring you around here and show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so let's see. Here's the coil. Here's the wires coming out of, well, into and out of either side of the coil. And I saw this butt connector, and I just saw this chunk of wire hanging out the end of it here. So what I'm going to try to do is disconnect this butt connector. Maybe easier said than done. From here. Nope, wasn't too bad. So what happened was this was hanging out like the back of it, like that. So it looks like that was the problem. But while I'm in here, I'm gonna take a wire brush, scrub those up, and put some Vaseline on them, and do the same here. See what I can do about cleaning those up a little bit. Yeah, you just never know on these old mowers. This thing is probably a 1980-ish John Deere 400. And if you were trying to remake this in today's money, it would be probably well over like $5,000, I would guess, if I had to guess. See if I can get this one out of here too. I don't know how they're supposed to stay in there, really. This one's staying in there pretty good. Okay. Well, it looks like this connector is kind of wore out. Whatever is supposed to hold these in there is not really working too well. Wonder if it's just that piece there. Let me get some Vaseline on. They're nice brass, brass fittings, but I don't know what's meant to keep them in there. Yeah, see, it just like immediately pushed both of them out of where they're supposed to be. So, see if we can just kind of jam them back in there. Yeah, so it's wanting to just pull these two apart like immediately. So, got a couple options here. One would be to get a new butt connector, and the other would be just to jam them home like that. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of deal. So, let's now see if when we turn the key on, we've got power up here. Beautiful. Okay, I think we're going to try to start it again. And then at least I can finish mowing and get the battery on the charger and get it pulled up to where I've got a little bit of a workspace. Let's see if it'll start. Okay, I think I've got the bare minimum of what it takes to run and get barely enough juice. Let's try it out. Okay, well that worked. Well, sometimes I guess it's just that easy. Doing a little electrical diagnosis there, making sure everything has got power where it's supposed to have power. Kind of got lucky on that one, I guess. But that, that was my real-time troubleshooting. Does it have gas? Does it have power to what makes the spark? So second answer was no, and now the mower is fixed. So I'm going to get the air cleaner back on there, finish up my mowing job, get it over to where I can charge the battery, and then change that solenoid out after I get that battery out of there. So anyways, that's going to do it for today on Man Time. Hopefully you learned something cool. Make sure to like and subscribe, or don't. Do whatever you want to do, but get out there. Have me some man time too.